Okay, two things remain irretrievable: time and a first impression. This is saying by Cynthia Ozek. As we go along with this presentation, this workshop, we'll get to understand more about the saying. Good day and welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend this workshop today. Today, we'll be talking about how to prepare for an interview. Interviews play a crucial role in the hiring process, and being well prepared can increase your chances of success significantly. This workshop aims to explore how to prepare for both face-to-face and online interviews and provide you with valuable insights and practical tips. Please note that your questions, note all your questions on the chat, and I will respond once my presentation has been complete. Also, there will be an evaluation form that will be uploaded onto the chat. Please ensure that each one of you complete that for improvement purposes. Hey, I'm Nirmala Moodley. I'm the Employability Lead for Region Business School. I have a postgrad certificate in education. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Honors in Psychology, Bachelor of Arts in Psychological Counseling. I have a BTech in Management, and I'm registered with the South African Council for Educators and the Career Guidance Practitioner Association in South Africa. Okay, understanding the interview process. The interview preparation process can start from your job search. You submit an application and you wait for an email or call from the to say that you've been invited for an interview. Basically, you have started the process. When you start the process, you need to start preparing yourself for that call or email. So today we'll be talking about pre-interview, the interview day, and post-interview. I'll be going through the different stages with you. So for the pre-interview stage, you will be researching the companies. It's very important. This is one of the crucial parts of the pre-interview stage. Researching the company beforehand is crucial in showing your interest and knowledge. It also demonstrates your interest in the industry that you're applying for. You can view the company's website, learn about their product and offering, look at the mission statement, their values. This should give you an idea about the company culture and ascertain if they are aligned to your personal goals. Also, you can see what the recent news says about the organization, about what's happening within the industry as well. Look at their social media presence. This will help you learn more about the company's community involvement. And you as well, you could mention your own experiences, volunteering, especially if you do not have any work experience. If you're new to searching for jobs, you just left school, you're studying, you're looking for your first job, this should help you, in providing information. And here again, I would iterate that it's important to look for volunteer work within your communities so that you gain some of that experience as well, so you can talk about it. Also remember that, they may also be looking at your social media activities on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Ensure that there is nothing online that could affect your work opportunities. It's important that you have a sort of a clear profile. There's nothing that they can say, okay, we cannot employ you because of this, you're involved in certain political or racial issues that are on a public domain. Yeah, companies may not want to be associated with certain things. So just be wary of what you put online as well. Another reason to research an organization is to check whether you want to work for the organization. And this is especially if you're currently employed. You want to see whether it would fit in with your values, etc. So you don't want to, you want to know what kind of organization you're getting into. It's not just about getting yourself a job. Some workplaces are extremely toxic, so you want to look at what the culture is like. You don't want to jump from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak. Check reviews from previous employees. You might find these on platforms like Indeed. It's one of the job application platforms that you may come across. Analyze the job description. You're looking at qualifications, skills, experience, requirements, and responsibilities. Ensure that you thoroughly analyze a job description to understand the requirements and responsibilities. If you're applying for many jobs, ensure that you keep track of what you're applying for. Download the advert, copy and paste onto a document, and save this in a folder. If the advert is taken off the platform, you will still have a copy. So if somebody calls you for an interview, you can go back to that document and have a look at what is required or what the requirements are. Sometimes these may be emailed to you by the recruiter. If this is a personnel agent, they may send you the job, the advert and the job scope. But if you are looking at going directly to the organization for an interview, you don't want to ask the company for the job scope, or maybe the advert doesn't have much information. Then it's okay to ask. But if the advert provides sufficient information about the responsibilities of the position, then ideally, you don't want to go back to them and say, you know what, please can I have that the advert or the job scope. Align your skills, experiences, and accomplishments with the job description. If the job description highlights the need for strong leadership skills, you can prepare examples where you successfully led a team or project. And for students, people looking for first time, if you don't have any work experience, show how your qualifications or volunteer experiences provided you with the relevant skills, and talk about what you are doing to build your skills as well. So you may not have the skills required, or you may understand some of these skills, but also show what you're doing to improve on those skills that are required. Mock interviews. I think everyone should be familiar with the saying, practice makes perfect. Prepare common interview questions and conduct mock interviews with friends, family, or career advisors. You're welcome to send me emails if you want, looking at mock interviews, but we're also looking at having a face-to-face mock session at our Durban campus by the end of July. Details of that will follow within the next week or two. Mock interviews will help you identify areas for improvement. It will help you articulate your thoughts effectively and build your confidence. A few common interview questions that you can practice when you're doing these mock interviews are like, tell me about yourself. Why are you interested in this position? Describe a time when you faced a challenge at work and how you overcame it. If you have applied for a remote job, your interviews may have unique questions related to technology, remote work, or virtual collaboration. And these could include, how do you manage your time effectively when working remotely? And an example for as an answer for this, you could say using your calendar tools, and project management software to organize tasks and deadlines. You could also say that you communicate regularly with your team through video calls, online meetings, check-ins, and stay aligned, to address any challenges that you may occur or you may come across. Prepare engaging stories. Storytelling is a powerful tool to engage interviewers, to get their attention and to leave a lasting impression. Reflect on stories that highlight your achievements. Use the STAR method, and this relates to the situation, task, action, and result. These will help you to structure your, your response in terms of storytelling. Your situation, this refers to, you can start by providing a brief overview of the situation or context in which the experience took place. Describe the background, challenges, or goals you encountered. Be specific. You should focus on providing only relevant details. The task, explain the specific task or objective that you were assigned within that specific situation. This is basically the role you played. It should be clear and concise, outlining what was expected of you or your team. Action, talk about the actions that you took to address the situation. This is the most important part of the STAR method. This is where you need to highlight your personal contribution, your skills and decision-making abilities. You can showcase your problem-solving abilities, your leadership, time management, and teamwork skills here. A result, reflect on the outcome or results of your actions. Focus on the positive impact you made, whether it's achieving specific goals, overcoming challenges, or delivering tangible benefits to the organization. You must have some outcome and be able to speak about that. When asked a behavioral question about challenging situations, and these are behavioral questions, when they ask you about, tell me about a time, these are behavioral questions. They want to see how you respond to certain things within the workplace. You need to describe what the situation was, the task or problem, and that's basically your role, the action you took, and the positive result that followed. When you structure your interview responses using the STAR method, you are able to provide a clear and concise account of your experiences. You're able to highlight your skills and achievements effectively. And, here again, you need to remember to practice beforehand. And tailor your examples to align with the specific job requirements, the job adverts, and the skills that the interviewer is looking for. Do not talk about something that's irrelevant, to the position that you have applied for. Some general work-related situations that I'm just going to go through very quickly with this. Just to give you a few examples of how to respond, and you always start with during your time at XYZ company, and when you're talking about the situation, the situation is being tasked with a new product line. And if somebody, you're doing marketing or advertising, this may apply to you as well, the task here is, my task was to create and implement a comprehensive marketing strategy for the new product line. You were required to include defining target audiences, provide promotional campaigns, etc. So what have you done? So your action here is, I conducted thorough market research to identify the target audiences, preferences, and competitor strategies. And, based on the findings, you collaborated with the marketing team to develop, a compelling brand message. And then the result here, as a result of the marketing strategy, the new product line exceeded sales projections by, 15% or 20% for the first quarter of the launch. And you're able to provide your KPIs here. So that's important when you are doing that. Other issues that you can look at is, dealing with employee conflict. Again, you would mention in your previous company, XYZ, the two members of my team were having a recurring conflict that was affecting team morale. My task was to address the conflict between the colleagues, find a resolution that would restore a harmonious work environment. And ensure the team's productivity and collaboration were not compromised. Now, here again, you will give more detail, but keep your responses, your entire response for the entire story to a maximum of 2 minutes. So what were you doing? Your action in this instance, you first schedule a separate one-on-one meetings with each colleague. you actively listened to them and validated, what they were saying. Here again, you maintained a neutral stance in terms of what you were listening to. You need to be objective, unbiased when you're dealing with conflict management. Then you facilitated a team meeting, to create an open space so both the parties can discuss the issues that you're looking at. When you're looking at the results of that, you can say the conflicts significantly diminished, working relationships improved, the colleagues started communicating more openly and effectively, and this impacted on the overall morale of the team. You could also include, it enhanced your team's ability to handle future conflicts in a constructive manner. You're fostering a healthy work environment as well. This example, it shows your ability to effectively address employee conflicts. And this would go to, if you're looking at a call center where you're managing or leading a team of, call center agents, and you're working with a lot of people, that report to you, this would be a good example to use as well. It shows how you're addressing these conflicts, your active listening skills, how you're able to facilitate open communication, how you are implementing conflict resolution strategies as well. It also showcases your skills in team leadership, problem solving, and fostering a positive work environment. And the results of your actions. You need to speak about, the results of your actions as well. What happens there. In a customer satisfaction, another situation you could look at, a customer was dissatisfied, with service disruption. You could be working in a telecommunications organization. Your task here is to address the customer concern, resolve issues promptly. What did you do? What was your action there? You could always say, what, you listened, you gave the customer a call, you listened empathetically to the customer, what their frustrations were, you gained a better understanding of what the issue was. You spoke to the customer and said, what, I will take this on personally, and I will provide you with feedback, as we go along. And you continued responding to the customer, providing them with feedback, investigating what was wrong, and the result was, you resolved the issue within a stipulated period or before it was required. And you provided, a good, again, the customer probably provided you with a good feedback on the service that you offer them as well. So those are the things that people are looking for, companies are looking for, that you're customer centric as well. It shows your customer focus, your effective communication with people, your ability to handle challenging situations as well. Another situation that we can look at is an issue related to fraud. We discovered a potential fraudulent activity, while maybe you're doing your routine reviews or audits of financial records. And this would go for accounting students as well. When you're applying to certain companies as well, you're able to show that you're able to pick up certain things. You have an eye for detail as well. And again, your task was to investigate the potential fraud, gather evidence, and take appropriate actions to mitigate the risk or future risk to the organization. Speak about what you have done, how you, upon escalating, how you escalated the issue to senior management, or the audit department, if you have one, how you compile documents, you ensured confidentiality when you were going through this investigations, how you conducted investigations, how you interviewed people, preparing reports there, outlining your findings, and presenting these reports and findings to stakeholders. Also you could come up with maybe how you recommended certain actions, immediate actions to prevent something like this happening again, and again, your results, where, that you're able to address potential fraud, and then the company was able to implement enhanced internal controls as well. And obviously, you could look at mitigating future financial loss, and, it would also talk about having ethical standards and your commitment to maintaining ethical standards as well. So within an accounting financial field as well, it shows your potential for identifying fraud, conducting investigations, collaborating with various stakeholders, implementing preventive measures to mitigate risk. It also shows your commitment to good work ethic and integrity and protecting the interest of the organization. You need to also prepare questions to ask. The questions that you ask must be thoughtful and relevant. This not only demonstrates your interest in the position, the company, or the industry, but also demonstrate your personal values, your critical thinking skills, and your long-term goals. A few examples of the questions that you can ask: how would you describe the company culture and values? Again, understand the working environment is crucial for you to determine if it aligns with your personal values and preferences. You'll be able to gauge if the company supports a positive and inclusive workplace. What opportunities are there for professional development within the company? This year shows your dedication to personal development. It shows the interviewer that you are committed to aligning your goals and growth to that of the organization. It also demonstrates your long-term goals and ambitions. Another question that you could ask is, what do you find most challenging about working for this organization? It's a very important question as well. It will give you an idea of what others think of the organization, current employees think of the organization as well. And also it shows your interest in the larger context of the role and reflects your industry awareness. It also shows that you are adaptive and ready to contribute to the organization's success. It reflects your proactive thinking. You do not state that you have no questions or ask irrelevant questions, such as those with answers that are easily accessible or available online. You can Google and ask, about the company, how many employees in the company, and that will tell you, so don't go and ask them, how many staff do you have? What is the vision of the company? These are easily available online, and this shows lack of preparation, lack of interest as well, and laziness as well. So just be wary of that. Always prepare some thoughtful, relevant questions that are aligned. You could ask them, tell me about a day, what's a typical day like in the specific role? Those are the questions you could ask the employer. On the day of the interview, ensure that you have your CV printed and kept in a neat folder. Sometimes interviewers may ask for a copy, management may just be rushing in from another meeting, and maybe the HR has invited a senior manager. They haven't seen your or don't have a copy of CV because they've been looking at other people as well. So just to refresh their memory on who they're talking to as well. So they may ask you for a copy of your CV. So have this ready for them. And while you have that CV ready for them as well, you need to understand what's written on your CV. You need to be familiar with all the information that is your CV. You wrote it about yourself, about your qualifications, about your experience, about your skills. So you should be familiar with that CV. Don't go fumbling and then somebody asks you about your qualification and you don't know about it, or some skill that you have because you went and had your CV done by, some person who does CVs professionally. So just be wary of these things. When you put something on your CV as well, you must be able to speak to that. Don't just put something on your CV and then you asked about it and you're a little bit surprised, you're a little bit surprised about it because you haven't actually gone through your CV or read through that or familiarized yourself with the contents of your CV. Dress and your appearance, your dress, your body language, your communication is crucial for, this contributes significantly to creating a positive first impression. You need to dress professionally. You need to, consider the company culture when you looking at how to dress. And you need to look at the interview format as well. And this depends on the organization you're going to, the industry you're going to, the type of job that you're going to. If you are looking at, something within you've done a BCom in law and you're looking to gain a work internship or a job within a law firm or an accounting firm, understand what they dress code is as well. You don't want them going in your jeans, your sneakers, those environments are extremely formal. Yes, companies have been, becoming a slightly more smart casual, of recent times, but a lot of companies maintain that formal dress code. And this is especially within accounting and law. And other industries as well. So understand what the dress code is for that specific organization, but you'd rather dress, more formal than casual when going for an interview. And this is irrespective of where you're going for that interview as well. Wear professional attire or opt for neat and well-fitting clothes. Your clothes must be neatly ironed and it must be clean. Invest in a few formal pieces of clothing. And these are, especially relevant for the younger people who've just finished school. You want to be in style, you want to look, hip and happening, etc. Invest in a few formal pieces that you could use for an interview, or if you were to get a job. You need to have some sort of formal garments to wear to that interview, or it may be a requirement within the organization as well that you dress formally. Have these ready, do not wait until you're called for an interview, then rush around trying to find something to wear. Sometimes an interviewer may call you and say, can you come in tomorrow for an interview at 3 p.m., or at 9 a.m., have your clothes ready, always have them ready, so that if something were to occur at short notice, you are prepared to attend as scheduled, rather than say, I don't have the clothes to wear, or, can we reschedule this for another day? So always be prepared, because once you want to change the date, etc., then the employee is no longer, or recruiter is no longer interested in you. Because sometimes companies may delay with the job, with filling the post as well. Maybe they're quite busy at the time, and then suddenly they say, okay, we need to fill in this position by next week, and they may go back to the recruiter and say, can you interview a few candidates quickly and send us the names, so the recruiter will try and do this quickly, and then you're looking at probably the employer as well coming back quickly to you as well to do an interview. So just be wary of those things, and while sometimes you send your CVs and never hear from an organization again, sometimes organizations are very quick to respond as well. Professional attire matters. You want to make that lasting impression. You need to have a polished look, and this also will boost your confidence and leave a positive impact with the interview as well. Hygiene is, is another crucial thing that you need to look at. Ensure that you're well groomed and pay attention to good hygiene. It's so important. When you're placed in a work environment, you will be working closely with others. When you go for an interview, people will judge based on these things. So ensure that you're well groomed. You've taken the various steps, in terms of being neat and clean and tidy. When you're looking at it, your nails are clipped, your hair is neat, etc., and you're well groomed. So just pay close attention to that. Your body language, maintain good posture, make eye contact, and use confident gestures to convey your enthusiasm and interest. Now, don't, tap your feet or tap your hands on the desk, or, be fidgety and, your hands all over the place when you're talking, when you are practicing these mock interviews, look at your body language as well, and see where you can improve on. Use that as an opportunity to improve on these things. And the same with communication as well. You need to speak with clarity and confidence, avoid using abbreviations and excessive jargon. You want to use some fancy terms. Use simple, understandable language when you are at an interview. And when you look at all these things, it must be aligned, your dress, body language, and communication must be aligned to reflect who you are as a person, who you are as a professional, your tone of voice, how you act, walk, your handshake will all determine the impression that you make on the interviewer. Smile, be approachable when you go to the company, smile and greet the security, the receptionists, the cleaners, be respectful to all that you meet on the day, from the security, cleaner, receptionist, and others that you may come across, before you interview, or before you go and sit and wait for somebody the interviewer, and yeah, again, you need to practice being kind in your speech as well. Look at how you speak, if you're a bit, aggressive in your speech, practice being a little bit more kinder, when you approach people and how you speak to people. Try not to be aggressive in your approach as well. You don't want to come on too strong as well when you're talking to someone. Some of the tips for interview success, the do's and don'ts. The do, be punctual. Arrive early, This is to avoid unnecessary stress and anxiety. We're rushing around, we're late, we're anxious. Always ensure that you try and go early. Plan your route. Aim to arrive at least 15 to 20 minutes early. This shows respect for the organization, for the interviewer, and it also shows professionalism as well. If you're meeting with a recruiter, earlier is better, because you may need to fill in some forms, and generally recruiters usually do this. They'll give you a clipboard and some forms to fill. So please try and fill that early so that, if your meeting is at 10 o'clock, try to be there at 9:40, so once you complete the form, you end it in and then you interview at 10 o'clock, rather than being there at 10 o'clock and then filling in these forms and your interview is only at maybe about 10:15. Also, that delays other people as well. So which means that if somebody is going to be interviewed at 10:30, then you being late would cause a delay with other interviews as well. And recruiters' interviews, they're not appreciative of that kind of issues, Yes, well, do practice good hygiene and dress appropriately for the interview setting, understand the culture of the organization, understand what kind of industry you're looking at and what kind of job you're applying for. And thank the interviewer for, giving you this opportunity to interview with them. The don'ts here is don't use informal language or slang during the interview. Don't speak negatively about current or previous employers. Avoid criticizing or complaining about past situations. Employers don't like that. Interviewers don't like that, because if you're complaining about a previous employer, what are you going to do, if you were to leave this organization, if you were to look for another position, would you be complaining about this organization as well? So they're thinking that when you're complaining about your previous or current employer, rather focus on the positive aspects of your experience, what you have learned, your experience gained, your accomplishments, and don't ask irrelevant questions, such as those that you can find on Google or on the company website. Sometimes we may come across delays on the side of on the part of the interviewer or the potential employer. Don't let delays, on the part of the employer recruiter affect your mood. Plan for that. Most people try to be on time, and in a professional setting as well. You need to respect their time, and yes, they should respect your time. But if it's in a business environment, if it's you going to the organization, maybe an emergency meeting came up and they're unable to see to you immediately. There's maybe a 15 or 20-minute delay in what you for your interview. Don't let that upset your mood. And I think the best way to do this is plan for some delays. Be there early, but plan for potential delays so that it doesn't upset your mood. And if it does upset your mood, it's going to affect that interview process, the entire interview session. So don't allow that, whilst, and also, whilst most people are quite busy, others may just be testing your reaction, to see how you would react to certain situations, your level of patience, etc. So don't allow something like that to affect, what you're going to be doing. Stay calm and stay focused when you're doing this. Post-interview, remember to follow up with a thank you note or email expressing your appreciation for the opportunity. This may show interest, and also it'll give the employer or recruiter an opportunity to respond. Don't be insistent on feedback. Be professional in your communication when you're following up. You may or may not receive a response or feedback. Right? So don't harass the interviewer or organization or employer, and don't send multiple emails. We tend to do this as students as well. We may send our lecturer an email, and within 15 minutes we expect them to respond. And we may try and do the same thing when we're looking at employment as well. Yeah, again, your employee is not going to appreciate you sending multiple emails or the same thing as well. When they have the time, they will respond to you. So just be patient. Like I said, sometimes they may not respond, so don't become despondent on about that as well. Okay, confidence is key. Research is crucial. Practice. So you need to research, do your research on anything and everything you can find about the organization. And that's it, based on your interest. You need to be motivated to want to work for that company. So do your research and find out as much information as possible. Practice makes perfect. Practice those mock interviews with family, friends. You're able to email me and I can do a session with you as well. So if you need, or you're going for an interview and you need that assistance, please contact me. Engaging storytelling, dress to impress and showcase your skills. You need to believe in yourself. You need to trust in your abilities and let your confidence shine through. By implementing the tips and techniques we've just discussed today, you'll be well prepared to excel in your future interviews. Remember that it's not only about you being a good fit for the company also needs to be a good fit for you. And that's where the research comes in as well. That's where understanding about the company culture and asking questions about the company culture comes in as well. So, and you cannot redo this session, you cannot redo this interview. So whatever you do there, make it count. Yeah, so basically, when we talk about that first impressions, you need to ensure that you're able to do that. You leave that positive, somebody having a positive effect on what you've just said, or a lasting impression on what with the employer, so that they'll want to say, okay, you know what, maybe we should contact this person. I like what he brought to the table. His image, reflects our company. What we stand for, our values. So look at what you're doing and how you're doing it, how you're communicating, etc., to make that lasting impression on the employer. This is something not totally relevant, but it's important to have, is a bank account, an active bank account, and a SARS number. You don't want to be rushing around. If the employer says, what, can you start on Monday? You need a bank account, you need a SARS number. So ensure that you register with SARS, ensure that you have an active bank account as well. We could talk a little bit more about this, at a future session, but just to briefly bring it up, you need to have this available, because if a company is employing you, they have to pay you, and when they're paying you, you need to have a bank account, your own personal bank account, and you also need to be registered with SARS. So just be wary of that. You don't want to not understand what these requirements are, and then you're trying to look around and not get any help as well. So we will try and have a session on how to get a SARS number. And I think most people have bank accounts, but it's handy to have your own as well. Sometimes you may want to give somebody else's bank account number, and that's not really allowed. So just be wary of those things. Okay, thank you all for joining this interview preparation workshop. I will now go through some of the questions on the chat. So please feel free to ask about any aspect of the interview preparation. For those that have made previous comments and suggestions, these have been noted. And as I mentioned earlier, our upcoming event is a mock interview session at the Durban campus. This is going to be held at the end of July. Details will follow in the next week or so. Thank you all. I'll be taking some questions now. Please complete the evaluation form. This is important that all of you complete this form. This will help us to see the impact that this has on you. It's important that we have some sort of evaluation completed by all attendees, so that when we have a look at this, be able to, one is it helps us to improve on the service offered to you. We take note of all the suggestions that you make, so that when we are coming up with new workshops as well, we try to bring in some of the topics that you want us to include as well. And also it helps us to improve on what we're doing, provide better workshop, provide more relevant workshops. And also it helps us to know that what we are doing here serves some benefit to you. So we want to see that it's impactful as well. And so please try and complete that evaluation form for me. Okay, let me just go through some questions. Yes, the interviews via Lovemore, the interviews via Zoom require formal also. Yes, you must be formal on an online interview. Ensure that you dressed accordingly. As you would go for a face-to-face interview, make sure you dressed accordingly. Make sure you find a suitable place to sit in when you're doing your interview. Don't be in a noisy place. You need to find a quiet place. You need to ensure that you have a good Wi-Fi or data network where you are. You need to look at the background that you have. When you're practicing these as well, ensure that the person that's looking at that as well, is able to, let me just stop sharing. Okay, so you need to ensure that the person is able to see you. So if you were looking at me at this stage as well, if you're looking at a shoulder length, so if you're looking at sitting comfortably, someone is able to see you, and at that level is fine. You don't want to turn your camera and, that there and you're all over the place and the lighting is not good and, you can only see half of your face. So just be wary of those things as well when you're looking at online interviews. The slides will be shared to everyone. When you're looking at the mining industry, you're not going to be wearing PPE unless you're going into a mine. Your interview is in the mine itself. You would obviously be going to an office-based interview. I think if you're going to be visiting the mine while on your interview, maybe the employer wants to show you around, etc. you could carry your PPE with you, but try and dress formal for that. You may be required, to wear a specific safety wear within the mining industry. You dressed in overalls, you dressed in safety boots, you need an helmet, you need your safety vest, etc. You don't dress that way to the interview. Dress formally, carry your PPE with you. So if the employee says, we'd like to show you around, they may have taken a keen interest in you and what you have to offer the company, they would like to show you around, then, they may provide you with safety gear if they're going to do that. Alternatively, you could have yours available, in your car. You don't need to carry it to the interview. All right, Subasiso. And then ideally, Tabelo, in terms of attire, what are considered ideal colors to wear for a corporate interview? You could look at your navies, your dark grays, your blacks, maybe with a white shirt, your light blue shirts. Try and get yourself a nice tie. Ensure that it's nice fitted suits, etc. When you're looking at interview formal or corporate wear. These must be sort of, you need to have that sort of tailored kind of look. Don't go for too bright colors when you're looking at this. You don't want someone, I'm sitting here with a yellow shirt, and it's going to be, you're going to be concentrating on the color, so or some bright florals or neon or whatever it is. You don't want the interview concentrating on that. They need to take an interest in you. So just ensure that you modestly dressed, or not over the top as well. Presentation will be shared within the next week. We just need to do some editing, and then we will upload it on Region Connect. Most employers do not advertise the salaries and how to answer a question related to how much you're expected to be paid. Do not, if the employer does not bring up salaries, you do not bring that up. If you're looking, applying via a personnel agent or recruiter, then you may ask them for what the salary is, but don't sit, if the salary is not discussed by the interviewer, you don't bring that up. We will, however, look at salary negotiations in the coming months with a workshop on salary negotiations as well. So just keep an eye out for that. Yeah, again, Tabo, if they were asking you, how much you are expecting to be paid, I think you need to look at, do not sell yourself short. Understand what the market related is. You need to understand what you are currently paid as well. And if you're looking for a little more than you currently paid, and then you're able to, but yeah, as well, companies set a certain standard, maybe they've decided, okay, for this role, they're paying 20,000 Rand, and you are earning maybe 10,000 Rand, because all companies set a benchmark for salary. So, so when they ask you that, and you just say, what, I'm earning 10,000 Rand, if I get 12,000 Rand, should be fine, but they're sitting at a level at 20,000 Rand, so just be wary of how you respond to, to such questions as well. Ideally, you don't want to give them a figure upfront as well. But we can look at speaking more about that in another workshop as well. Yes, Boo, there recording will be available. I did an interview in January. I love I had to email them to ask if there was any progress, and they gave me a second interview in May again. Now I had to write an email to find out about the outcome. I'm told the CEO is not available. Is it safe to say such delays implies that the company is not in? Sometimes companies take longer than expected to fill in a post. And, this could be for any reason. So don't become despondent, but also if you're working, continue to work, until they contact you again. Maybe just give it some time and then, send a follow-up email and see what they respond with. And whatever you do, do not leave your current job for something that you haven't gotten in writing for, so just be wary of that. If somebody says, you know what, yes, we will be interested in taking you on, don't go and resign immediately. You must have something in writing before you do that. And you must have confirmed that you're interested in the position as well. My email address is employability@region.ac.za. I'll put that on the chat now. Please, for those who have not submitted the evaluation, please do so. Okay, we can have, I'm just putting my email address here. Okay, so my email address is employability@region.ac.za. So you can contact me on that. Matumi, you can contact me via email. And then Melissa, majority of companies advertise numerous roles, however, not ready to absorb external candidates to provide fair market rate. Melissa, yeah, you need to keep upskilling, reskilling, try and develop yourself, try and develop your skills, see what else you can do to improve on the skills you have, what new skills that you can learn. In any environment, you're able to gain a lot of skills. And some of us, we like to stay with what's within, what's easy for us to do, and try and learn as much as you can in any organization that you are in. Every little bit of work that you do that's not your own, or somebody else asks, can you assist with this? Say yes, sure. I am quite busy, but let me see how I can assist. You're learning something different, and you don't know which employer will need that skill. Ricardo, thank you. This was so very interesting, informative. You're welcome. Thank you. Welcome, Kavita Devi. Diane, how do I answer reason for leaving question at interviews when you just left your previous company because you could not deal with everything happening there? Diane, yeah, as well. I think you could look at, maybe you're looking at just taking a break from the work environment, for personal reasons. I know a lot of environments are quite toxic. A lot of people need that salary. They need to be working, and they try and, stick through it until they find another job, but, people will, interviewers would look at and want to know why you left, I think you need to, in some instances, without talking negatively about the company, maybe you could say you didn't see any growth opportunities there, and you thought you'd leave, maybe concentrate on your studies if you're still studying, or build certain skills, or you realize that, okay, you know what, this is not the environment for me in terms of my career growth, or my career path. I'm looking at sort of changing it, or bringing something, or looking at other opportunities that may become available that's more aligned to my values, more aligned to, my personal values and what I would like to do, what I'm passionate about. It can be, it's something difficult to answer if you don't have, I'd prefer to have more understanding about it. You can always email me and we can chat about it and I can give you more clarity on how to answer that. You're welcome. Yes, Zelo, you need to continue upskilling, reskilling. So just make sure that this is continuously being done. Tapiwa, with regards to makeup, yes, you can use makeup, minimal though. You don't want to be, depending on the environment as well. Yeah, again, you don't want to be totally pasted, look at minimalistic kind of, use of makeup there. Yet again, look at the environment, dress code, but I think minimum when it comes to makeup, as long as you're looking neat, polished, give yourself that polished look when you're using your makeup, but not so much so that, it looks like, we could scrape that off your face kind of look. So just think about how much makeup you use for interviews when you're doing it as well. This session was really informative. You're welcome, Loretta. How do we love more? How do we verify a company that has no social media presence? People are getting scammed out here. So yeah, you need to be very careful. And I always, tell you on all my webinars and workshops that you need to be very, very careful. If you have received an online interview, you're going to be, if you haven't seen somebody that's going to be interviewing you, if you're not having this video call with somebody, you haven't seen where you're going to be working, etc., then you need to be wary of that. So don't just, somebody may say, and there's lots of scams, you may receive an email, say we just need your personal details, and you're thinking, what, I haven't applied for this job, but you're desperate for a job, you need a job, you send your information, and then, you see, somebody's using your personal information, your ID, etc. So just be wary of these things and who you respond to as well. Ricardo, with regards to benchmarking of salary, if you go for an interview, for example, look at what's being offered, look at salary benchmarks, and you'd find these on HR, recruitment platforms as well. So just look at what is currently in the market and market related. Gino, think you should go for a range for salaries like 400 to 500K. That would depend on what you do, Gino. On your qualifications, your skills as well. If you're new to the work environment, you're junior, you finished matric, you just studied, and this is your first job, look at what the market is offering there as well. Some companies pay more depending on the company you're applying for internship opportunities, and then you can grow within that organization. If you're lucky to get a permanent role there. But I think asking for 400 to 500K would depend on your skills, your work experience, what you're bringing to the company. What can you do for them? So when you're asking if that's a current salary, current range, then you can go through with that range, what you're looking for. But just say if you're earning 200,000, you can't really jump to 400 to 500,000. So just be wary of that, but also at the same time, don't sell yourself short. Do your market research, see what's being offered for those positions. Look at what skills you have. If you're really good at something, you're passionate about something, and you're able to make improvements in terms of taking that, with you into a new organization, then ask for what you want, but also motivate why you deserve that salary as well. Be able to motivate, use your skills, experience, qualifications, etc., to motivate why you deserve a certain salary. Do we have to handshake? What if 5 people in panel do I have to end? If people are doing the handshake, then you would handshake. Just make sure you have a firm handshake. Hands are not all, palms are not sweaty, etc. So just be wary of that, but try and have a firm handshake. And yes, if there's 5 people on the panel, and yes, you'd do an handshake with those 5 people. But when it comes to handshake as well, people have moved away from that. So just try and gauge, how you would approach something like that. Chantel, learn and unlearn. Joe, will there be certificates? Currently, the system for the certificates are offline. So when they do come online again and the system sorted out, we will be starting to give certificates again. But currently, for this, we may not be able to. What if I ask a question about something practical? I have no practical. So basically, again, if you have no practical experience, use your volunteer experience or use the skills that you have learned in your qualifications. Try and use that, try and do some community work, etc., and see how you can build your skills. Astika, you're welcome. You're welcome, Komotso. Yeah, again, Ari, yes, you could say, you've reached basically your ceiling, within a certain organization, you're looking for something more challenging. But I think people would wonder, if you've already left a company and why as well. So I think we could, just look at how to respond to that as well. Gloria, welcome. We will have something on salary and negotiations. I think if a company is asking for a copy of your salary and you have been into the interview for the interview, then you may it's your choice, to send your salary information. That shouldn't determine, but also you need to motivate why you, just say if you're earning 10,000 Rand and you want 15,000 Rand, motivate why, and the company wants to pay you 12, motivate why you deserve, maybe they have a threshold of 18, so motivate why you deserve that. Okay, we need to cut this off now because thank you all so much. And bye, everyone. I think we covered all the questions here. You're welcome, and thanks once again. Just make sure you complete the interview, the evaluation form as well. Okay, and bye, everyone.